All right, let's jump right in. You know those days, right? The ones where you're just on fire. Hours disappear, you're knocking things off your list. It feels amazing. But then, the very next day, it's like you've hit a brick wall. Just trying to focus feels like a chore. Well, today we're going to talk about a productivity method that's all about getting more of those good days. The secret? It's about working with your brain, not fighting against it.
So here's our game plan. We'll start with that all-too-familiar feeling of good days versus bad days. Then I'll show you exactly what the Flowtime method is and the science behind why it works so well. After that, we'll get super practical. How to try it out yourself. We'll cover the benefits for your job or your studies, and then we'll finish with the big idea that honestly could change how you look at work forever.
Okay, first up, let's talk about something I'm pretty sure every single one of us has experienced. Just how unpredictable our own focus can be.
On the one hand, you've got those amazing days when you are totally in the zone. You know the feeling. You're focused, you're actually making progress, you feel completely in control. But then there are the out-of-sync days. Every little thing is a distraction, you feel stuck, and by the end of it, you're just sitting there wondering where on earth the time went. So what if you could have more of those in-the-zone days? Well, that's the exact problem the Flowtime method sets out to solve.
So if that's the problem we're dealing with, what's the fix? Let's get into the nitty-gritty of what the Flowtime method is all about.
At its heart, the Flowtime method just throws rigid timers right out the window. So instead of, forcing yourself into those 25-minute blocks like with the Pomodoro technique, you just work. You work for as long as your focus naturally lasts. And the second you feel your mind start to drift, that's your cue to take a break. It's really simple. Your brain is the boss, not some ticking clock.
And the beautiful thing about this is just how simple it is. You don't need some fancy app or complicated setup. Seriously, you only track two things. What time did you start and what time did you stop because you lost focus? That's it. And that simple little act of just noticing, well, that's where all the magic happens.
Now, I know what you might be thinking. This sounds maybe a little too simple, right? But there's a really solid reason why this works, and it has more to do with your biology than your discipline.
Check this out. Research from the University of Illinois found that our attention isn't this constant thing we can just switch on. It actually works in waves. It builds up, it peaks, and then, naturally, it starts to go down as our brain gets tired. The Flowtime method is built entirely around this one powerful fact. So here's the deal. Those rigid timer systems, they're actually fighting against this natural wave. Just imagine it. You're deep in concentration, totally in the zone, making huge progress, and then some random alarm goes off telling you it's time to stop. It just shatters your momentum, and you have to burn so much mental energy just to get back to that state later.
But Flowtime, it does the exact opposite. It lets you ride that wave of focus for as long as it's there. You get to squeeze every last drop out of your peak concentration, and then you rest when your brain actually tells you it needs a timeout. What's the result? You don't burn out, and you don't waste that precious momentum.
Okay, theory is great, but how do you actually put this into practice? Let's walk through the steps. You can literally start doing this today.
It really couldn't be easier. Step 1. Pick one single task. Just one. 2. Jot down your start time. 3. Get to work. And keep going until you feel your mind wander. The instant that happens, Step 4. Write down the stop time and take a break. 5. Just repeat that cycle. And then Step 6, and this is the cool part. At the end of the day, look back at what you wrote down. You'll start to see these amazing patterns about how you actually work.
So what happens when you make this a regular thing? Well, the payoff can be huge, whether you're at an office, working from home, or hitting the books.
For professional work, I'm talking coding, writing, big picture strategy. Flowtime lets you get into that deep, uninterrupted headspace where your best work happens. If you're working from a home office, it gives you structure without that feeling of pressure. And for students, this is an absolute game changer. You might discover you can focus on history for a solid hour, but maybe chemistry burns you out after 35 minutes. You start tailoring your study sessions to the subject, not to some clock.
And honestly, all of that leads to what might be the biggest benefit of all, less stress. I mean, think about it. You stop fighting with yourself. You're not trying to force your brain to work when it's clearly telling you, hey, I need a break. You just acknowledge the mental block, respect it, and step away for a bit. That alone removes so much of that daily frustration and anxiety.
So let's zoom out for a second as we wrap this up. This is way more than just another time management hack. It's a totally different way of looking at what it means to be productive.
See, the goal here isn't about brute forcing more hours into your day. It's not about turning yourself into some kind of productivity robot. The whole idea is to work smarter by respecting how your brain is already designed to function. It's about honoring your own natural rhythm of energy and focus.
And if you remember just one thing from all this, let it be this right here. Real, lasting productivity doesn't come from force. It comes from awareness. It gets better the moment you stop trying to fight your own mind and you actually start listening to what it's telling you.
So I'll leave you with a question. We spend so much of our lives trying to squeeze our unique, individual brains into these rigid, one-size-fits-all systems. But what do you think would happen if you flipped that script? If you built a way of working that was designed around your brain's natural strengths? Are you ready to find out?